Hi students, good morning. This is Fanindra. I'm a lecturer in physics working in Vignan institutions. So let us continue our discussion regarding the chapter laws of motion. So in our previous session, we have discussed about law of conservation of momentum, and we have seen certain cases where some of the problems can be asked in an objective point of view. And in this session, let us see some of the problems, two cases regarding this law of conservation of momentum, and then we go on to the our next topic. So this is a question regarding the law of conservation of momentum, in which the question is as follows. It says that a man of mass m climbs on a rope of length L. So you can see the diagram here. Suspended below a balloon of mass capital M. The balloon is stationary with respect to the ground. Initially, the balloon is stationary with respect to the ground. So now the question is as follows. If a man begins to climb the rope at a speed of v relative, that is relative velocity with respect to the rope or with respect to the balloon, in what direction and with what speed relative to the ground will the balloon move? The ball means the balloon move. So this is our first question. So if the boy or if the person is moving upwards with a velocity v relative with respect to the balloon, then what is the direction of the balloon such that it moves, and with what speed it moves? Direction and the speed of the balloon, okay, with respect to the ground. Now our second question is, how much has the balloon descended when the man reached the balloon by climbing the rope? So by how much distance the balloon moves such that when the man covers the total distance of the rope? So these are the two questions. So this is the problem where we can use the law of conservation of momentum and we can solve the problem. Okay, let us solve the problem. Okay students, now consider this is the diagram for the given question. So let it, capital M is the mass of the balloon and small m is the mass of the man that is moving, climbing upwards with the on the rope of length L. Let the person is moving upwards with a velocity of v relative. Right. So consider the given cases that capital M be the mass of the balloon, and capital V is the velocity of balloon, and small m is the mass of a man who is climbing upwards, and small v is the velocity of the man with respect to ground. Capital V and the small v are the velocities with respect to the ground, velocity of man. And v relative, given that v relative is velocity of man with respect to balloon. So this is the given question. So now I need to calculate what is the velocity of the balloon with respect to the ground and with what speed and with which direction it is moving. Okay, so according to the law of conservation of momentum, as there is no external force acting on this system, so the person is moving upwards, so there is no external force acting on the system, so total momentum remains constant. So we need to calculate what is the initial momentum and what is the final momentum. So initially the system is at rest. Before the person moving upwards, this whole system is at rest. So consider initially system is at rest. System is at rest. Therefore, initial momentum is 0. P initial is equal to 0. Initial momentum is 0. When this man moving upwards, there is some velocity with a velocity v, small v, and the balloon is also moving with a velocity capital V. Therefore, final momentum after the person is moving, final momentum is equal to mass of the person into velocity of the person V bar plus mass of the balloon capital M into velocity of the balloon capital V. This is the final momentum. So P final is equal to mv bar plus capital M capital V bar. So this is the final momentum. Now, according to the law of conservation of momentum, so according to law of conservation of momentum, final momentum should be equal to the initial momentum, as there is no net external force acting on the body. So P final is equal to P initial. So final momentum is small m into small v bar plus capital M into capital V bar is equal to initial momentum is 0. So capital M into capital V bar is equal to minus small m into V bar. Okay, or we can write from this relative velocity. Where is it? Relative velocity. V relative is velocity of the man with respect to the velocity of the balloon. So we can write V relative bar is equal to velocity of the man minus velocity of the balloon. Small v bar minus capital V bar. So from which we can write small v bar is equal to V relative bar here plus capital V bar. Substituting this in the above equation, we can get m into V relative bar plus V bar is equal to R plus capital M into capital V bar is equal to 0, from which we can modify it as V relative bar plus capital M V bar plus capital M capital V bar is equal to 0, right? From which we can write it as, so from here capital V bar can be taken common, V bar into small m plus capital M is equal to minus m into V relative bar. So therefore V bar is equal to minus m into V relative bar divided by capital M plus small m. So this is the velocity with which the balloon is moving with respect to the ground. Capital V bar is the velocity of the balloon with respect to the ground. So it indicates from this formula, the negative sign indicates that here the person is moving upwards, which means the balloon is moving downwards. Capital V. Understand? So here the person, as the person, relative velocity of the person is moving upwards, the balloon is moving downwards. The negative sign indicates that the balloon is moving downwards. And the magnitude of the velocity is given by m into V relative by capital M plus small m. Okay. Similarly, if we substitute capital V, instead of writing from this equation small v, we can write the equation capital V, which means velocity of the balloon. We can get the velocity of the person as small v bar is equal to capital M into V relative bar by capital M plus small m. So which can be expressed by reversing this equation, capital V is equal to V relative minus Vm, or V bar minus V relative. We can get small v is equal to capital M V relative by capital M plus small m. So not remember the formula, but just follow how we calculated the formula from the given question. Here we know that according to law of conservation of momentum, total momentum should be remains constant, which means initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So thereafter, in the question given that there is a relative velocity V relative, which is relative velocity of the man with respect to the balloon. So from that we have solved what is the velocity of the balloon. So velocity of the balloon is given by minus m into V relative bar by capital M plus small m, which shows that the negative sign indicates the velocity of the balloon is opposite to the velocity of the person. As the velocity, the person is moving upwards, the balloon will move downwards. Okay, so this is our first bit, first question. Now let us move on to our next question. So the next question is in this way, that how much the balloon has descended when the man moves, when the man reached the balloon. When the man reached this balloon, how much will the balloon descended? So that is the question. So let us solve this. So let us go for the B bit, second one, the above question. So again, once again consider the formula according to the equation from the law of conservation of momentum from this formula. So small m into V bar plus capital M into capital V bar is equal to 0. So here V is the velocity of the man and capital V is the velocity of the balloon. We know that velocity is nothing but a rate of displacement or rate of change of a distance or rate of displacement. So which can also be written as, here V can be written as delta R by delta T. Rate of displacement is nothing but velocity. So m into delta R1 by delta T plus capital M into delta R2 bar, that is denoted by bar, by delta T is equal to 0. Okay, so now which can be written as small m into delta R1, here delta T gets cancelled, plus m into delta R2 bar is equal to 0. So delta R1 is nothing but change in position, it is the displacement, which is nothing but change in position. Later the person moves a distance d1 and the balloon moves a distance of d2. So m into d1 minus capital M into d2 is equal to 0. Why I am writing minus here means, as the person moves upwards, the balloon is descending. As it is descending downwards, it is in opposite direction. So minus. So m into d1 minus capital M into d2 is equal to 0, or small m into d1 is equal to capital M into d2. Right. So from this expression, we know that as the person is moving upwards, the distance from the person started to the balloon is L with respect to the ground. With respect to the ground, it is L. So L should be equal to d1 plus d2. L should be equal to d1 plus d2, from which the d1 is equal to L minus d2. Substituting in the above equation, m into L minus d2 is equal to capital M into d2, from which m into L minus m into d2 is equal to capital M into d2. So m into L is equal to small m plus capital M into d2, from which the expression for d2 can be written as d2 is equal to small m into L by capital M plus small m. So it is the displacement through which the balloon is descended downwards. So as the person moves upwards to a distance of L with respect to the ground, or with respect to the balloon, L is the displacement with respect to the balloon. As the person moves upwards, the balloon is descended through a distance of d2 is equal to m into L by capital M plus small m. Similarly, if we calculate the value of d1 from here, substituting the value here, d1 can be written as capital M into L by capital M plus small m. So d1 is the distance traveled by the person with respect to the ground to the upwards. With respect to the balloon, it is L, but with respect to the ground, it is d1 is equal to capital M into L by capital M plus small m. So this is one of the very important problem where so many questions can be asked in the objective point of view. Okay, so from this I think we are clear how to solve the problem by using law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so similarly, let's go on to the next case or the next problem where we can use the law of conservation of momentum, and in the similar manner we can calculate the problem in the similar manner. Okay, students, now let us move on to the next question, that is, a dog weighing 5 kgs is standing on a flat board so that it is 10 meters away from the shore. If the dog walks 4 meters on the boat towards the shore and then halts, the boat weighs 20 kgs and one can assume that there is no friction. There is no friction between the water and the boat, and also the dog and the boat, between it and the water. And how far is the dog from the shore and at the end of this time? Okay, so from this question it is given like this. Let us consider the diagram. So consider it as a boat. So okay, it is a shore, so on which a dog is present. So here mass of the boat, that is, let it be the capital M, mass of the boat is equal to given as 20 kgs, and the mass of the dog is, let it be the small m, and it is given as 5 kgs, right? And the dog is initially at a distance of 10 meters away from the shore. So if the dog is moving in this manner such that so now the dog is moving in this direction, so we need to calculate the dog has moved a distance of 4 meters with respect to the boat. So then what is the final distance from the shore to the dog? So it is our question. So initially, as the dog and boat both are at rest, so initial momentum is 0. So initial momentum is equal to P initial is equal to 0, as they both are at rest condition. When the dog is moving, let V is the velocity of the dog, small v is the velocity of the dog, and capital V is the velocity of the boat. So final momentum is equal to mass of the dog into velocity of the dog plus mass of the boat capital M into velocity of the boat capital V boat. Now according to law of conservation of momentum, as there is no external force acting on the body, so total momentum should remain constant. So P final should be equal to P initial. P final means M into V bar plus capital M into capital V bar is equal to 0. Here V is nothing but a rate of displacement. V is the velocity, so that rate of displacement. So we can write it as M into delta R1 bar by delta T plus capital M into delta R2 bar by delta T is equal to 0. Here as delta T goes upward outwards, so M into delta R1 bar plus capital M into delta R2 bar is equal to 0, or can also be written as M into D1 minus capital M into D2 is equal to 0. Why I am writing here minus means as the dog is moving towards the right, the boat moves towards the left. So both are in opposite direction, so we are writing M into D1 minus capital M into D2 is equal to 0, or M into D1 is equal to capital M into D2. Okay, so from this expression M into D1 is equal to capital M into D2, from the given question it is given that as the dog moves 4 meters, dog walks 4 meters on the boat towards the shore. So dog is moving in this direction 4 meters with respect to the boat. So with respect to the boat means as the dog moves with respect to the shore, D1 is the distance moved by the dog and D2 is the distance moved by the boat. So total distance should be equal to 4 meters. So from here D1 plus D2 is equal to 4 meters, as we solved in the previous problem only. So from here D2 is equal to 4 minus D1, substituting in the equation. So M into D1 is equal to capital M into 4 minus d1, or m into d1 is equal to capital M into 4 minus capital M into d1, from which d1 is equal to 4 into capital M by small m plus capital M. So d1 is equal to 4 into capital M means 20 kgs divided by 5 plus 20. So d1 is equal to 4 into 20 by 25. By simplifying it, we can get it as 3.2 meters. So with respect to the ground, with respect to the boat, the dog walked a distance of 4 meters. But with respect to the ground, the dog walked only a distance of 3.2 meters. That means the d2 is equal to the value of d2. From here, d2 is equal to 4 minus 3.2. So d2 is equal to 0.8 meters. As the dog walked through a distance of 3.2 meters in this direction, the boat moved in the opposite direction, that is the backwards, through a distance of 0.8 meters. But in the question, we have asked to calculate how far is the dog from the shore at the end of this time. So as the dog is moved 3.2 meters at the end of time, distance from the shore is equal to, initially it is 10 meters, as the dog walked through a distance of 3.2 meters, which can be equal to 6.8 meters. So finally the dog is at a distance of 6.8 meters from the shore. So you can observe here, this is also a question regarding the concept of law of conservation of momentum. So by using law of conservation of momentum, we have calculated the example. Okay, so I think from these two examples, with this relative concept, we can solve as many problems we can by using simply the law of conservation of momentum. From the law of conservation of momentum, we have calculated all this. Okay, students, now let us move on to our next topic, that is the equilibrium of a particle. So equilibrium refers to where a net force acting on the body. In translatory motion, equilibrium of a particle refers to net force acting on the body is 0. So in translatory motion, equilibrium of a particle refers to net force acting on the body, that is summation of the all forces acting on the body should be equal to 0, which means summation of all the forces acting on the body is 0, which means according to Newton's second law, from the case where mass is constant, m into a is equal to 0, from which acceleration is 0. Acceleration is 0 in the two cases, that is whether velocity is constant or the body is at a rest condition. Okay, so in translatory motion, equilibrium of a particle refers to summation of all the forces should be equal to 0. Summation of all the forces is equal to 0 means in three-dimensional point of view, summation of all the forces acting on the x direction should be equal to 0. Summation of all the forces along the y-axis should be equal to 0. Similarly, summation of all the forces along the z-axis should be equal to 0. Okay, this is the equilibrium of a particle in mechanics that refers to translatory motion. Similarly, in rotational motion, when the body is rotating, in rotational motion, equilibrium of a particle refers to net torque acting on the body is 0. Summation of all the torque acting on the body should be equal to 0. That means torque acting along the x direction should be equal to 0. Torque acting on the y direction should be equal to 0. Torque acting on the z direction should be also equal to 0. So this is equilibrium of the particle considered in the case of rotational motion and in translatory motion. Similarly, in translatory motion, minimum number of forces are required to keep the body in equilibrium means two forces. Suppose consider a block placed on a horizontal surface. If there are two forces acting on the body, F1 and another force is acting in this direction, F2. So the body is said to be in equilibrium if F1 bar plus F2 bar should be equal to 0. That is, F1 bar is equal to minus F2 bar. That means magnitude of should be equal and opposite in direction. So minimum forces means two forces are required to keep the body in equilibrium. They should be equal in magnitude, opposite in direction. Similarly, number of unequal forces acting on the body to keep the body in equilibrium means three forces are required. So here equal forces. Equal forces means only two forces are required. Similarly, unequal forces, number of unequal forces required means three. Three unequal forces are required to keep the body in motion. F1 bar plus F2 bar plus F3 bar should be equal to 0. Okay, so similarly, according to Lamna's theorem, if there are three forces acting on the body, suppose let these three forces are in this direction. So let it be the force F1, let it be the force F2, and let it be the force F3. Okay, here F2 and F3 are making an angle alpha, and here the angle is beta, and here the angle is gamma. Right. To keep the body in equilibrium, the net resultant force should be equal to 0, and the condition will be, so to keep the body in equilibrium, according to Lamna's equation, it will be like this: F1 by sine alpha should be equal to F2 by sine beta should be equal to F3 by sine gamma. So this is the condition from this Lamna's theorem to keep the body in equilibrium if the three forces are acting at a particle making an angle alpha, beta, gamma as shown in there. So if n equal forces are acting on a particle of equal magnitude, then the angle at which each force should be acting is to keep the body in equilibrium, angle theta is equal to 360 by n. If equal forces are acting, if n number of equal forces are acting on a particle, then to keep the particle in the equilibrium, each force should be act at an angle of theta is equal to 360 by n. If two forces are acting, 360 by 2, that is 180 degrees, equal and opposite force. If three forces are acting, there should be at 120 degrees. Okay, similarly n forces are acting. To keep the body in equilibrium, the n equal magnitude forces are at an angle of 360 by n. Okay, so now let us consider an example where we can use this equilibrium of a particle. Consider a rigid support from which a string is tied with the box. A box is tied with the help of a string to a rigid support. By applying a force F, let it makes it comes to here in this condition by making an angle theta. So by applying a force F in this direction. So by continuing the force of F applying on this in such a direction that it is in equilibrium condition. So it is in rest condition. Whenever the body is in rest, the equations will be like this. So the weight of the body acts always vertically downwards, weight mg. As this box is supported by a string, there is a tension acting on the string, tension T. As this is the angle theta with by symmetry, this is also angle theta. This tension can be resolved into two components along vertical direction and along horizontal direction, along this T cos theta and along it T sin theta. Whenever the particle is in equilibrium, whenever this body is in equilibrium, the net force acting on the body should be equal to 0 along horizontal direction as well as along vertical direction. As there are two forces along horizontal direction, they should be equal. So F is equal to T sin theta. Similarly, mg is equal to T cos theta. So whenever these equations are true, then only the body is in equilibrium condition. So from which we can write it as, so F by mg is equal to T gets cancelled, sin theta by cos theta, which is tan theta. Okay, where problems can be asked regarding the equilibrium of a particle. F by mg is equal to tan theta, or to calculate the t, squaring on both sides, we can get t square into sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1. T square is equal to f square plus mg whole square, or t is equal to root over f square plus mg whole square. Okay, so this is an example where we can see use the equilibrium of a particle. So just remember, when a particle is in equilibrium condition, then the net force acting on the body should be equal to 0. So that should be the condition. Whenever a particle is in equilibrium, then the net force acting on your body is 0 in translatory motion. In rotatory motion, the net torque acting on the body should be equal to. Okay, students, so now let us move on to our next topic, that is the common forces in mechanics. So the common forces in mechanics, although there are different types of fundamental forces, some of the common forces we came across our mechanics will be, first one is the gravitational force. So gravitational force occurs whenever the two mass particles are present. Whenever there are two mass particles are present, there is a gravitational force acting on the bodies. And the next second type of one is contact forces. And the contact forces are two types. Contact force occurs due to the contact between solid and solid, and next one is contact force between the solid and a fluid. Okay, and the next type of force is spring force and tension in a string. So these are some common forces that we will study in our mechanics. So according to the gravitational force, whenever a book is present on a table, the weight acts vertically downwards due to the gravitational force of the earth. And regarding the contact forces, first one is contact force between solid and a solid. So contact force, regarding this we need to study here, a very important one. Contact force between solid and solid, between two solids. So here also there are two types of forces as present. First one is normal reaction. Normal reaction or normal force, which is perpendicular to the surface of contact. Perpendicular to surface of contact. And the second one is frictional force. Frictional force, which is parallel to surface of contact. Parallel to the surface of the contact. This is the contact force between solids and solids, which is very important, which we will study in this chapter only. About the normal reaction and about the frictional force. And the second type of contact force is, this is first one, and the second type of contact force is contact force between solid and fluids. Contact force between a solid and a fluid, just like a viscous force and friction due to air friction, buoyancy force, viscous force, etc., and friction due to the air. These are some of the contact forces that are present because due to the contact between a solid and a fluid. Okay, so which we will study in our later chapters, but in this chapter we will study about the contact force that is between solid and solid, which is perpendicular to the surface of contact, it is normal reaction, and parallel to the surface of contact, it is a frictional force. And along with this, we will study about spring force, the force acting on a spring, and tension in the string. Whenever a block is placed, support, whenever block is hanged, a block of mass m is hanged to a rigid support with the help of a string, there is a tension acting on the string. The tension acting on the string is the tensional force, which we will study some of the common forces that we will study in this mechanics. Okay, and this also regarding the spring. When the spring is subjected to some force, or when a block is suspended by the spring, there is some force acting on the spring, which is equal to minus k into x, where x is the displacement, k is the spring constant. So regarding all these forces we will come across in this mechanics. Okay students, now let us move on to our next topic, that is a normal reaction or a normal force. So normal reaction is the one of the contact forces. So it is one of the contact force. Which means which occurs when two solids are in contact, and it is always perpendicular to surface of contact. Perpendicular to the surface of the contact. It is denoted by some of the textbook it is denoted by R, and some of the textbook it is denoted by the N. So I will denote it as a normal reaction denoted by the N. So whenever a block is placed on a horizontal surface, and which is at rest condition, the forces acting on this block are weight of the block acts vertically downwards towards the center of the earth due to the gravitational force of attraction of the earth. So that is mg. And the next type of the force is, so here the two solids are in contact. Here the solid is in contact. So a contact force occurs which is perpendicular to this contact. So vertically upwards. It is normal reaction N. So these forces are not action reaction pairs. Okay. So these are not action reaction pairs. So they do not cancel each other. Okay. So weight of the body acts vertically downwards, and a normal reaction perpendicular to the surface of the contact. Similarly, when the block is placed on a inclined plane, so the weight of the block acts vertically downwards mg, but the normal reaction in this case is also perpendicular. So this is the surface of contact. So perpendicular to the surface of the contact, normal reaction acts in this direction. Okay. Similarly, when a block is pressed against a horizontal wall or a vertical wall, okay, so you are applying a force, some force F, so that it is on a vertical wall. So here the normal reaction will be in this direction, as it is the surface of contact, the perpendicular to the surface of contact, normal reaction here. Okay, normal reaction is one of the contact force which occurs when two bodies are in contact, and is always perpendicular to the surface of the contact. Remember that thing. Here, weight of the body acts downwards, weight mg, acts vertically downwards. Okay. So this is how we denote the normal reaction. So just remember that a normal reaction is always perpendicular to the surface of the contact. Okay, whenever this are in equilibrium, you can write this equation. In the first case, it is n is equal to mg, equilibrium condition. In the second case, if theta is the angle of inclination of the inclined plane, the weight can be resolved into two components, that is mg cos theta here and mg sin theta. So here the n is equal to mg cos theta, and in this case the normal reaction n is equal to applied force. If the three cases are in equilibrium, whenever they are in equilibrium, then here in the first case n is equal to mg, n is equal to mg cos theta, and n is equal to m. So just remember that the only one important thing is the normal reaction is always perpendicular to the surface of the contact. Okay, so this is the end of our session. In this session we have discussed the problems regarding law of conservation of momentum, very important problems. I think from that examples we are able to solve the problems regarding law of conservation of momentum. And next we have seen what is the equilibrium of a particle, and later we have seen the different types of common forces in mechanics, not different types, that common forces that occur we will study in our mechanics. And later what is meant by normal reaction, one of the type of the contact force. So in our next session of the video we will discuss what is a free body diagram, which is very very important to solve the problems in mechanics. Free body diagram, how to draw a free body diagram, and what is the apparent weight of a man in a lift, does it changes when the lift moves upwards or when the lift moves downwards. Similarly, tension in the string placed in a lift. So with all these examples and a free body diagram, which is very important to solve the problem, any problem in mechanics, a free body diagram is must. So how to draw the free body diagram can be solved in our next session of video. So today this is this end of our session. Okay, thank you for watching the video.